Hello, panel. Hello, panel. How's it going today? I'm trying to test out to make sure that the audio is working. I have to. Kayla, she's. You can take her to the room, right? Yeah. I'm trying to get this to work so that way we can all enjoy it. I hope to. Okay, yeah, that's it right there. Okay, it's working. It's working nice. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's nice meeting and it's nice inviting all of you to the program of tonight. Yep, it's been a long time since I would say I haven't really been on this broadcast. I haven't said much in a long time. I've been off doing other things, taking care of business. But tonight is going to be a wonderful one. So I'll be discussing a lot of things that have to do with culture. It's going to be a cultural discussion tonight. And in this discussion, I'm hoping to state a lot of things and hopefully learn myself. But just like I've been discussing with some group of guys on this fair, I told them that when we have to when we have to discuss things about what is wrong with the community, how to do business, and that's what is wrong with doing business in the community. That men are at fault, women are at fault. It got to come to a period of time that we have to start discussing the solution. So my thing going forward is going to be about solution. Yes, a lot of people have a problem. There is so many problems in the community, but in that problem per se, what solution can you bring? That's the thing. When all problems are said and done, what is your solution? I have to restart this stuff. I really have to restart this program because I haven't used this computer in a long time. Like I haven't used this computer in a long time, so something is just affected. But okay, let's keep going. Like I said, it's been. What is the solution? We cannot keep discussing about what is wrong in the community. That men are crazy, women are crazy, men ain't shit, women ain't shit. It got to come to a time that we need to stop. We need to all look back and say, what is my contribution to moving things forward? What can I do to make the difference? What can I do to say, okay, you know what? this is too much, but this is my solution to this problem that has befelled the whole community. And I got to tell you, it's spreading like a wildfire. It's spreading like a wildfire, not just in the United States, it's spreading like a wildfire all over the world. The US is not exception. I would say all the whole African community around the world is spreading like a wildfire. So, what can we do? What is it that we can do as a people to then get the best of our community, find solution to this problem, and then bring it home? That's what I'm here for. Like I was speaking with somebody recently, I told them that I'm sick and tired. I am totally sick and tired of pointing fingers. I'm done with it. I'm sick and tired of it. It's just not what I want to do anymore. So I've also come up with the idea that you know what, that I can start discussing about cultural things, because one of the greatest problems that we have in the community is non-cultural activities. We are not discussing cultural activities. So many people lack culture. Even the ones that are in the culture don't even know what the culture is all about, because a lot of people are not raised in that culture. Yes, their dads, their mom were raised in it, but they were raised just like every other black people in the United States. They were all raised in the city. They have sense of it. They are told what it is. Some of them were brought up by their parents being taught what it is, but some of them, their parents believe that the culture is archaic, and that's a problem. So that is why I just come today to say, you know what? We have to start discussing things. We have to start discussing about the culture, what the culture means to the society, what it should be about, how we can discuss about it, how we can implement it, and how we can find solution to the predicament that we all find ourselves. It is a predicament. I'm sorry, it is a predicament, but we need to find a solution to it. It's scary. The reason why I believe it's scary is because we have kids that are going to grow in this culture. We have kids that are going to become adults in this culture, not in this culture, but in today's culture. Can we allow this to continue? I would say no, we shouldn't allow it to continue. We shouldn't allow it to continue. We shouldn't allow it to foster. It's not what we should be all about. No, it's not what we should be all about. What we should be all about is finding solution to the problem that we are facing. Yes, it's good to point fingers and identify the solution at the same time, but fix the solution is the hardest part. It takes years. You can point fingers, you can identify the solution, the problem, but then how do you bring about a solution? That is what this program is trying to discuss. But also, when we bring about that solution, where do we go from here? That is why I came with few points, and one of the few points some of the few points that I have at hand is number one, building a whole community, bringing back the culture, just like our ancestors planned. Modify the culture so that some will not feel like they are cheated out. Explain the culture so that way people can understand why nature and culture are intertwined. Because the culture is not to please a man, but to work with nature and to understand nature and obey nature and make humans that are coming with us or before or after us to understand that this is the natural being of life, which we don't have control over. We cannot change it, we cannot manipulate it, but we can only modify it. Science didn't come into existence on its own. Humans took what God have gave them naturally from the soil to turn it into defense, aerospace, vehicle, computers, um, um, mm, telecommunication, space, and every other thing, including the food and the drink that the food and the waters that we drink. These are all given to us by nature. So it's up to us to use that which nature has provided to us for our own good. But at the same time, we can also use it for our own bad. So there is nothing like, oh, science has. No, science is as a consequence, as a result of what nature has provided. Nature gives us the power to take from the soil and then put it into production, put it into use, and then use it for the betterment of mankind. But at the same time, when things are being manufactured, every single individual that is going to get a hold of that instrument or the finished goods will use it for certain things, even contrary to what it was actually manufactured. That's how humans operate. So our tradition was created for the good of mankind. But mankind also decided to manipulate that tradition for or against his fellow humans, and some actually modify the tradition to suit as they go. And some actually took the tradition to implement it just like God said it should be implemented. But one thing that I've always said is this: every tribe, every region have its own culture and should use his or our own culture to the benefit of mankind. You shouldn't manipulate fellow human beings. I'm going to drop the link in case if somebody want to comes up. I'm going to drop the link. So you shouldn't use you shouldn't use what God has given you to manipulate human beings. You shouldn't use it to destroy your fellow humans. You shouldn't use it to to just do evil as it suits you. You have that choice, but there are consequences too. Choice is one thing that we have. We have choice to do whatever we wish to do. It's a God-given choice. It's a God-given right. But also at the same time, don't be mad when when the consequences surfaces or is used against you. Don't say, oh, this. No, 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 no. You have the power of good and bad. Just like I was speaking with somebody recently, I told them this. I said, hey, that as a human being, you have the power to do good and you also have the power to do bad. God created this life and gave us the power to do good and bad. But whichever one we choose to do, we should hold ourselves to it. You cannot do good and be happy that you did good, but then do bad tomorrow and then blame the devil. No, I don't buy that idea. You see, I don't buy the idea of somebody doing good today and then they are happy that they did good. And then tomorrow, when they resort to evil, then they said, oh, the devil made me do it. It was the devil's fault. Then I have to blame the devil. I don't buy that. I don't take that. I don't even accept that. Because as much as you want us to give you the credit for good, we should also be able to condemn you for evil. You can't eat your cake and have it. It's the same thing that applies to nature. That's why I said to folks, especially we blacks, a lot of people on earth love our culture. But the thing is that some of us shy away from our culture. We have God that have guided us through thousands of years. Some of us don't know how to be able to understand the true meaning of our culture. But it's that same culture that has guided us throughout history up until the last 100 years, when some people began to shy away from it. But before that, our people were proud of what God gave them, because what God gave them was actually what they used to respect the earth. They used it to to be able to understand the gestures that come from their fellow human beings. They use it to be able to protect one another. They use it to be able to maintain their lands. They will use it to be able to be their brothers' keepers, to understand that if I do this, there are consequences for what I have done or what I'm about to do. It deterred them from doing those things. But as we began to shy away from that which our ancestors have given us, we began to fall into the shameful nature of life. So today, we have a situation whereby a man, knowing fully well that he's not qualified to be a father, will then manipulate another human being which happen to be an opposite gender, a female, manipulate her into getting pregnant, and then they decide to have sex without condom. And then when it results to pregnancy, he's not prepared to be a father, but he runs away. Or in some cases, when he stays around, he struggles to be a father because he was never prepared. He was never prepared. He did not have the means to be a father. I remember stories that are told about the olds. What they would do when they grow up, that's our ancestors. They will first become men. They will be trained how to protect the community. The first training that they underwent, which is like being in signing up for the military, they will learn first how to protect the community. That's their first job, to protect the community. Then their second job is to be able to guide their own family, till in the land, provide food, provide virtue, provide shelter. But before they could be able to do this, they would first be able to get what they call a job, which means they will get lands from their fathers. If you're in the background and you want to join, if you want to join the podcast, you're free. Just click on the link and come up. But if you don't have to be on camera though, if you come up, but I just have to see you. Then you can turn off your camera. If you want to join the podcast, you're welcome. So these men will first understand these virtues. They will get a piece of land. By getting that piece of land, then they will start tilling the soil. They will till the soil. They will grow. They will plant seeds, grow crops. Some of them will own cattle. Some of them will own goats. Because back in those days, wealth were measured by how much land you owe, how much goats you owe, the size of your livestock, the size of your farm. Those days, that was exactly how wealth were measured. But what happened is this: these men, when they come and find a woman for their own, a woman that they are interested in. Okay, let me see. Oh, Victor, Victor, your device is not connected. Vic, your device is not connected. So, these men, when they come, so what they will do basically is this. Yeah, I think, Vic, if you can hear me, your device is not connected. I think you have to do some connections. You may have, forget how to do it because it's been a while, man. Like I struggle to come in too because it's been a while since I've done podcast. I struggle to come in, but if you can just connect your device and then we'll go from there. So these men, what they will do basically is that they will till the land. They will become men of possession in their community. So by them having lands, having livestock, that shows a measure of wealth or a measure of income. In some cases, in most cases, a measure of stability. When they have exercised that stability, then what these men would do, they would then reach out to get married to a woman. So when they bring this woman in, okay, let me see. Yeah, but the thing is that okay, okay, are you going to want to be able to talk? Say something. Let me know if I can hear you. Vic, just say something. Because it says that your device is not connected, which means that either your microphone is not connected. You can connect your mic and your device is not connected. Like if you can connect your device, then that will be good. Yeah. It said that your device is not connected, but I can see you, but I can't see your device. That's I can bring you up so you can talk. Yeah. Okay. While I'm waiting for Victor to come in, so you must exercise. So once you've established, um, um once you've established that you have what it takes to be a man, which means you have land and you do have a livestock. Now, what happens is so once you've demonstrated that you have those things. So what happens is this: now you can then go to your father and say to your father or your kinsman that you can be a man, that you are a man, and that you need a helpmate. The community will say, okay. The community will then reach out to other family members, and tell them that you desire a wife, and they will, because most women in the community, both your mother, your aunties, they all have friends, and their friends have daughters that of marriage age. Those daughters will walk. When they see you on the street, they show their shyness because these are women that are very shy. They're so young, so they're shy. They will see you, they will be so shy. They will walk past you, but they know that you are in the market for a wife. So all these women will start demonstrating themselves as wife material. They will pass you in the street, they will pass you in the farm, and you will look at them because the words have gone out that you want a wife. And the people will respond. The women in the community, the young women in the community will respond by going past you all the time. They will pass you all the time. Their mothers will reach out to your mother. They will talk to your mother and they will tell your mother what makes their own daughter fit to be your wife. But your mother also have been watching these women since they were little into their adult age, their marriage age. They've been watching them. So they knew between 2 and 10 girls that they would choose as an option for you as a wife. So what they do is that they will start bringing one of those girls to you to look at them. But they will not let you touch them. That girl will not sleep in that house with you. But she will sleep with your mom in some cases. On your mom, she will sleep on the floor while your mom sleeps on her bed. So these young women, right? They will come to your house. They will exercise their domestic prowess. One at a time. Not all of them show up the same time. No, one at a time will come to demonstrate their domestic prowess. Once they've done that, when they continue to do that, then your mom will start looking. We start looking if this one is pretending, or if she's doing it out of her own will, or if she's doing it wholeheartedly. Because doing it out of your will and wholeheartedly or pretending, those are all two different things. People just to be able to discern those things. Those three things that I just named, as a man, as a mother, you should be able to discern it. As a man, you should be able to discern it. Although most men lack that ability. That is why the mothers are usually the one that birth for men. So this is how it happens. The mother will then have words with your sisters or the girls in the family that may know her. They will tell her they will tell you to go, that they will get the words back for you. So those your sisters would start telling your mothers the secrets that they know about each of these 10 girls. And your sisters would then narrow all that thing down to maybe 2 people. The secrets are not usually the kind of secrets that we look forward to today. No, it's not. Things that they want to find out is this: is she hot temper? Does she cook? Is she clean? Because I gotta tell you guys something about Africa. One thing that people don't understand about Africa is that hygiene is of the utmost importance in African families, especially from the women. Young man has to demonstrate his level of hygiene before he can be able to talk and associate with his fellow men in Africa. You have to be very clean. You can't smell. Yeah, but Africans back in those days didn't use deodorant. The masculinity smell is general. They don't count that. But taking shower when you in the morning, taking shower at night when you go to sleep, those are highly important in Africa. Africans don't play with you taking care of your hygiene, other than the masculinity smell. That is not natural. Nobody can they can't do nothing about that. So the same also apply to women. So they're going to have to ask those questions. Does she really take good care of herself? Does she cook? Does she clean? Does she have a poor hygiene? How's her relationship with her father? That's very, very important. How's her relationship with her mother? Have you ever heard her scream at her mom, or yelled at her mom, or shout at her mom? Those are almost similar, but to different people. Different regions call it different things, but it's all the same thing. But they all have different pronunciation for it, different words for it. So that's the thing about African culture. So when it comes to a man looking for a soulmate, when it's narrowed down to 2 women or 3, now you have to then come in and choose the one that her beauty pleases you. But let me go back. Let me talk about how this comes to be, because that's why I say African culture. That's why I said African culture. Another thing with African culture is this: the most important form of African culture is first the birth of a child. I'm going to move into it shortly, but let me come back to where I was. So when this man have calmed down, I've narrowed, when the family members have narrowed down to 2 or 3 women, they will call him to come and look at these 3 damsels, and he's going to choose the one that had beauty, pleases him, or pleased him, the one that he feels like that is the woman for him. He would then tell his mom, I choose this one. The mom would be, oh, he finds a wife. Good. But I got to tell you, it doesn't stop there. He has found a wife, but has she found a husband? That's the thing. Because it's not a one-way street in Africa. It's a two-way street. So what makes it a two-way street is this. If he then finds a wife, he has to go to the girl's family and then introduce himself to the girl. Because the first thing, he has to find a wife, right? The second step now, after the first step of finding a wife, is to approach the girl's family. He might not seek her consent to approach it, because that's the best way it's done. It was done in Africa for thousands of years. But he's going to go to her father and tell her father that I have found a wife. And then the father is going to be like, okay, where did you find a wife? In your family. Okay. So if you found a wife in my family, who is this wife that you found? He will say, your daughter. Which of my daughters, if he has more than one daughter of marriage age, he's going to tell. He's going to name them. Then he's going to then ask him, the man, have you talked to my daughter? Do you know if my daughter likes you? He said, I haven't talked to her, but I want to seek your permission to talk to your daughter. Then the man will say, okay, I'm glad that you came to seek my permission to talk to my daughter and then seek her hand in marriage. But you shall wait. And then the man will then reach out to his wife, the mother of the daughter. He doesn't call the daughter, he calls the wife, which is the mother of the daughter. Then he asks the wife if the daughter is around in the house, and she says yes, he is around, that she is around. Then that father would then tell the mother that he should go and fetch the daughter, because there are people here seeking her hand in marriage. African culture is beautiful, I'll tell you. It's a process that you have to undergo. Then the mother would then call the daughter and bring the daughter to the front of the visitors and her kinsmen. And then the daughter would then greet them. She will kneel down and greet the in-laws. She does not stand. She kneels down and greets the in-laws, the future in-laws. That for her to kneel down is significant in African culture. The reason why it's very significant in African culture for a woman to kneel down like that in front of her kinsmen is because she has shown her submission. That is not subservient. It's showing her submission, that she is willing to submit to culture to the elders, and to the gods. And most importantly, she's able to submit to her husband. So when this is done, she will then ask, she can stand up. Her father will give her the permission to stand up, say, oh, stand up, my daughter. Stand up, my daughter. This kneeling down and standing up thing usually happen within the first 30 seconds. My man, Trigger Mike.
What's going on, man? Sorry I'm late. I
I can't
came
hear.
on to show you some love, but
I don't know why I can't hear you. Let me try to see if I can fix this audio thing.
testing. No, everything looks good on my end.
Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. That Trigger.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Let me see if you can. Can you say something? Maybe I can hear you now.
Testing.
Let me see something. I don't know where. I may have. Let me see. Let's see. Let me see if I may have made a mistake on my. Yeah, it's connected. Maybe I should take this. Maybe I should take this off and see if I'm doing anything wrong. Because you're supposed to connect. Audio, mic, yeah. Audio. Testing. Can you say something? Let me see.
Can you hear me?
None. Wow, I got a problem here. I may have a. Oh boy. Okay, is it working? Check it out.
Testing.
Okay, I don't know why my you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Yeah. What am I doing wrong? It's been a long time since I came here last. I don't know why I'm having issue with the it
Speakers.
says my speaker is working, but maybe try one more time.
Testing.
Is it your speaker? Check and it's not you.
Chat. Check the back chat.
You know what? Let me. Okay, I think I know what to do. I know what to do. Yeah, I know what to do. I'm going to take this and disconnect it and plug this and this. Plug my Hammond card. Okay, say something now.
Testing.
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you getting my echo?
No
Any echo?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So, So, like the monologue that I'm doing. So I was talking about how African culture is. So let me. So what I'm saying is this, right? So the man would then, the woman would stand up, but she's not going to stand up. She's just going to be told to stand up by her dad. All these things happen within the space of about less than 30 seconds. So when she stands up, then her parents are going to say, are going to tell the guy, are going to ask the man that came, is this the woman that you're seeking for marriage? And he confirms and says yes. Now they have something to do. But in African culture, the woman doesn't just, the traditional marriage doesn't happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that she has come and said, okay, this is the man that I want for marriage, doesn't mean that he automatically gets her. No. The
Mm-hmm.
family is going to go and then do their own investigation because the onus is on the man.
Yeah.
They will do their own investigation to find out if this guy has criminal history, if people in their family die prematurely,
Mm-hmm.
which means they may have been caused by the gods because they've done something bad in the past. You know, the sins of the father that live after 3 to 4 generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Africans take those things very, very serious. And another thing again, they will find that if he's stolen, if he's killed somebody, if he's beard a false witness against someone, those
Mm-hmm.
are very, very important things in Africa. So when the people that the dad had sent out to go and make these investigations come back and then find out that no, none of these things have ever happened. So which means the family has not done one of or some of these bad stuff. Now now the dad would then send out message, the positive message that they can come back. If they have been found to have done something in the past, then the father would then come back and said, hey, we have a problem. You can't marry our daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's that's the thing about the culture and tradition of Africans that I think that instead of us cussing out each other in America, women and this, men and this, we're supposed to learn from each other's culture and say, you know what? Since this person is not this and that person is not this, can you at least be able to teach people what you know? And if they're willing to learn, they can learn so that the next generation will not be what this generation is. What do you think,
Indeed.
Chuka Mike?
No, that's 100% spot on. Um, on the if we're talking just about relationships and tradition, what's lacking from American culture, I'm gonna say American culture in
Mm-hmm.
general, is they're trying to do away with customs. They're trying to do away with traditions because they believe it's oppressive to women. And what they're
Yes.
forgetting is that most traditions and customs are very protective of women.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
devil snuck in. That's the way I say it. The devil snuck in under the disguise of freedom
Mm-hmm.
and liberation
Yeah.
for women. He
Yeah.
snuck in and dismantled the entire family by pretending that freedom was
Yes.
best, what was best for you. Order,
Yes.
discipline, custom, tradition, law is what's best for people. If you do not live
Mm-hmm.
in a society with rules, you will fall victim to anything. Your women, your
Mm-hmm.
children, your men will be weak, and these are all things that we have seen played out in 2 generations. If you're 30
Mm-hmm.
or 40 years old, you have seen what the worst of a lawless society can bring about, right here in America. You want to bring things that are underground, such as LGBT, to the surface, forgetting that
Mm-hmm.
the root of all of that type of stuff was perversion, right? It's
Yeah.
lawlessness.
Mm-hmm.
It's unsafe, unclean things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only in a society where you play down customs and traditions can those type of things come to the forefront as if
Mm-hmm.
they're just normal things. And to your point, women are the one that suffer are the ones that suffered the most. The part that really saddens me is that they're the ones with the biggest complaints. Why aren't men this? Why can't I find a good man? Why is this stuff happening in my relationship? It's because you chose him yourself. You decided to sidestep the customs of the past to make a liberated decision based on your freedom and your choice, only to find out later in life that that's not what's best for you. Throughout history, women have never chosen good men. It's no different.
Mm-hmm.
Women that live in the 18th, women that lived in the 18th century and before, the 19th century, 20th century, 21st. You're never going to be good at picking men.
Mm-hmm.
It was always done for you. It was done in
Mm-hmm.
collaboration with you to
Mm-hmm.
so you may have a better life for your children. So you can
Mm-hmm.
find a man that was not only accountable, he's not accountable to you, he's accountable to
No.
your father, to his father, to his
Exactly.
legacy,
Exactly.
to his
Mm-hmm.
family name. This is why
Mm-hmm.
men are failing. He's not accountable to you.
No,
You
not
think
at
he's
all.
supposed to do this for you? He's doing it so he doesn't disappoint the people that he made a promise to, his own
Mm-hmm.
family. He
Yes.
can't break this bond because everybody until the end of his life will put pressure on him to keep his promises.
Yes.
You cannot
Mm-hmm.
keep a man in line. You can't keep a family in line. You cannot keep a society in line without those
Mm-hmm.
customs and traditions. So don't walk away from them, walk towards them. Demand that you have a union, a family that are put strictly under these type of rules, and you will prosper. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
It's just like, okay, sometimes when I argue with my wife, right? The argument gets out of hand sometimes because I'm in my moment, she's in her moment. The first thing that comes into my mind is her father. You see, her father comes into my mind, then my family comes into my mind. The reason why her father comes into my mind is because I made a promise to her dad to love and protect his daughter.
Mhm.
And the first person that I usually will call when we have situation, I never call my family at all. I have never for one day called my family say, "Hey, I just have an argument with my wife." No, because I know what they're going to do. They're going to want to protect me.
Mhm.
So what I do is that I call the dad and say, "You know what? I didn't like this. I didn't like this," and then the dad would then talk to me because I want somebody that can tell me the truth of what I have done wrong.
Mm.
And then when he tells me what I've done wrong, or he kind of didn't side with his daughter, that gives me a sense of belonging, knowing fully well that this man actually protects me. So if her father so much protects me, I should protect his daughter and his granddaughter and the grandchildren that will come, right? I'm not obligated because he has demonstrated to me that he's a man of truth and wealth.
Mhm.
He's someone that is worthy of his words. So I should take him serious. But the thing about it is this, like you said, Trigger Mike, you really, really broke it down. A man's responsibility to behold his family is not to his wife. He's not answerable to his wife. He's answerable to his father-in-law, even dead or alive. Because he has made that promise. Because I remember my dad, my grandmother, my auntie would told me recently that my dad, whenever he comes home to Nigeria, to my hometown from Kano, from the up north in Nigeria, when he
Mhm.
goes down to the south, that southeast or east. So what he will do is that he will bring 50 liters of palm wine. You know the palm wine, right?
Yep.
And he will take it to my grandfather. But before then, my grandfather already received the news that my dad just returned, and he knew my dad was coming in the morning. And he would call all his kinsmen and tell them that my dad was around, that my dad is in town, that all of them should come in the morning because they know that his in-law is going to bring him palm wine. And they
Mm.
will all show up with all their cups. You see, they will all show up with their cups because in our community, of old, because now the American virus of hip hop have affected is affecting us, and it's a wildfire. So that community is a community of trust between the man that vetted your wife and gave you his daughter for marriage. There is an unbroken trust that goes between the two of you.
Mhm.
So that's why I do say most of the time I will say this. We shouldn't, our women shouldn't get excited about the guys that they see. You shouldn't go to a man and hope that this man marries you. That's contrary to what it is meant to be. You shouldn't even approach a man and be like, "Oh, I love you. I like your swagger." Okay, that. The thing is this, right? When you go against nature, right? When a woman goes against nature or a man goes against nature, I do say to people all the time that nature fights back.
Yep.
And when nature fights back, there is a consequences because the law of the principles of nature was never respected. It fights back, and when it fights back, it's detrimental. It's very painful. Uh, so another thing is this: like I do say, how do we then introduce this culture to America and say, okay, you know what? Whatever you have practiced, whatever you've done before in the past, this is the culture that we Africans are now bringing to you. Because we're going to have to take some things from them that are positive, right? How do we then introduce this positive thing, culture that we always talk about in different panels and channels? How do we then present it?
It so we have seen enough from American culture. We have grown up in American culture. We went to school in American culture. Um, I've been here long enough to know that people won't have anything forced on them.
Mm,
People rarely do what's good for them, and people
yep.
aren't dumb. They know exactly what's bad, what's risky, what's daring, what's a bit dangerous. They know that they're getting into risky waters, making a lot of the decisions that they make. What is essentially going to come is a time of great necessity.
Mm-hmm.
So the best that people who know can do is to keep being an example, because our examples rather, they will stand the test of time. When everyone is when it becomes popular to keep your family together, we would have been married for 20, 30 years already. You see?
Yes.
So it is out of great necessity that people start to listen. I've always said this is something I learned or I put together from things that I learned in the military. People don't change until they have no choice.
Yeah.
They don't change until they have no choice. We have seen now the sins of the generations before affecting the
Mm-hmm.
generations now. The
Yeah.
children of today are already making different decisions than their mothers and fathers made, simply because
Oh,
of what
yeah.
we've already been through. The birth rate
Mm-hmm.
is down. The marital rate is down. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't given a lot of these. They're not eager to try things that other people were willing to try because they've seen how
Yeah.
it ended in disaster for their parents. Now, you said nature always fights back. We still hear some of the rhetoric of women saying, "Well, I can just be alone." Well, nature dictates that women should not be alone.
No, no, no.
So even those
No.
decisions to think, "Well, I'm not going to do this the way my mother did. She crashed and burned. I'm just going to be alone." Nature has something to say about that. So out of great necessity, to not be alone, because we know men and women alike, we're not meant to be alone. Since the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of time, to know that men and women live somewhere, you will find five things: a civilization, birth, death, war, taxes, marriage. People have
Yeah.
paired off with each other since the beginning of time. If you put a man and a woman together in one place, there will be some type of romance or activity happening between the two of them. And they will want to be with one another in some capacity. We know that. So out of this desire to act outside of their nature, there will become a great necessity, and then they will
Mhm.
start looking to us for guidance. Then they will say, well, I realize now I do need a husband. I do need a wife. Please tell me how to do this correctly so I don't end up like my mother and father did. So out of great necessity, we will see our traditions and customs become adopted again. It just takes time.
Uh, uh, Sometimes, right? Sometimes I do hear people that will say that they want to marry a wife. They want a husband that will be a provider, a protector, and also somebody that will shelter them. I've looked throughout African history. That is not possible. Throughout African history, a man has never done those three things. Africa is still the oldest culture on earth. Africa is thousands of years older than the closest culture to it, which is the what do they call it? I think it's the Southeast Asia, which also did migrate out of Africa, which is the Chinese. They're the one that have recorded history close to 5,000 years beside Africa. The Arabs also came right after the Chinese. And then the intermarriage that happened, the cross marriage that happened that produced most of the Arabs and the Arab peninsulas. But this is something I'm trying to say. Throughout history, right, there has never been a recorded history that said that women never worked. Women have consistently worked throughout history because that's why it's called helpmates or help me, depending on where you are. And the reason why is because when a man grows from from the early discussion of this panel or early presentation of this panel, when a man grows, right, the first thing he has to do is to acquire lands, which mostly is given to him by his father, because his father will first train him to be a man from the moment he can have memories. So the moment is good to be a man. The father would then give him a piece of land or a couple of pieces of lands. And also he has to then get himself livestock, because wealth were being measured, or the achievement of a man was being measured by the amount of lands and livestock that he has. So when he was able to produce those two things, now he can then reach out for marriage. But when he's reaching out for marriage, he's not going to go get married to a woman that doesn't have what it takes. I am going to, as I'm talking with you, I'm going to bring out a video. And this video, right, we might look at it and then you can see what exactly did happen when a man, I, I- I'm sorry if, let me try to get this, is, if you can hear it, that will be good. I'm trying to nab it where it's supposed to be. Okay. I don't know if I let me try. See if I can get, because the reason why I'm trying to play this video here is because sometimes people do think that marriage is for a woman to come home and enjoy herself. No, it's not. Okay, so check this out. Let me try to bring it up here. I know they have this screen sharing thing. Let me bring up the screen share presentation. Okay, I'm going to go to presentation. It says share screen. Okay, you're going to see what I'm about to say. What I'm about to bring up. Okay. Uh, and boy, Chrome. This is. It's been such a long time since I used this thing last. Okay, that's it right there. Okay. Can you hear? Can you hear what it's saying?
What is there to understand?
My son.
Can you hear it?
Turn it up.
Okay.
The greatest honor that you shall do to me, my flute and my music, is
Let
you
me see if I can bring it up. Can you hear better
shall
now?
come soon
Yeah, I can hear it.
before my ancestors welcome me over. But my
I
son,
want you to see
I
something.
want to see it. I
He's
want to
going
see
to
it with my
turn
living
around.
eyes and play the flute with my living lips and breath, so that
He's going to turn around.
when that honor is done and the battle won, I shall have attained or taken the highest title and honor as the father of the greatest wrestler Umofia ever produced.
Okay. Let me move forward a little
Everybody,
bit.
everybody, I go.
Look at the next action.
I hear you, father. My son.
Okay.
Everybody,
After this, he's going to do something. There's somebody behind him.
everybody.
Are you ready?
Yes, I've been waiting.
Why did you tell me instead of just standing there looking at me? I go to the sound.
Okay, good. Trigger. Did you see what he just said? He said, I'm going to the farm, right?
Yep.
The reason why I showed that clip right there was because the women were not married to stay at home. They were married to go to farm. They were married to work with their husbands. They were married to produce for their family, not to stay at farm and act however they want, not to stay at home and just do whatever they want or do however they want. Check this out right here. I'm about to play this. This is also educational. Okay. Okay. This is it right here. Let me share real quick. So, okay. This man right here, right? Look at this is what lazy women do. Check this out. He's praying to the gods. You remember this, right? When they wake up in the morning, they pray to the gods. That is why communication between a man and God is very necessary because he believes in his gods, right? He prays so that God will guide him. But that is not what I'm actually looking at right now. There is a video. I'm going to explain this later on in a different stuff. Okay.
Mbake! 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 Can't you recognize my voice anymore? Eh? Haven't you had the crow of the cock? I don't want any excuse anymore. You hear that? Just come out and cook some food. We don't have to
This is African life 400 years ago. It is 400 years ago, but it's very relevant because the modern society is destroying us.
Yeah.
Look at what she's going to say. Just listen to this.
You can't sleep. You can't rest. Every time it's work, work, work. No rest. Farm. Goats. Young band. Wrestle. What kind of a man did I marry, eh?
Okay, good. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to stop the video here. So she said, what kind of a man did I marry? That's what we see from the modern women today.
Yeah.
I don't even call them modern women anymore. In fact, I can say that I can say modern women because there is another one that I coined recently. It's called modern feminine women. I will explain that in a different segment. Modern feminine women. But for the modern women, this is exactly the laziness. They won't work when they wake up after their husband. But he was saying, why would a husband wake up before you? As a woman that is married into that family, she's supposed to wake up before the man, prepare the meal, prepare breakfast. When the husband wakes up, he after praying, he eats, and guess what they do? They go to the farm. Women have never throughout history married to come home and sit. No, they did that because guess what? Their husbands were the king of the village. Their husband was the king of the community. The community provide men and women that will serve her husband until the day he dies. In some part of our culture, is after 7 years. You had the king has to let the servants go, and a whole new servant have to come again. And those servants, they just don't live like that. You have to give them parcel of land that they will use to cultivate. You have to settle them, because that's why people say, oh, Africa practiced slavery. No, Africa did not practice slavery for one day. Africa had servants that would serve the king. And in turn, the king would then free them by giving them piece of land and livestock that they will go home with. So that's the thing about this laziness. I don't know. I don't even know where they come up with the idea that a woman doesn't have to work, that a man has to provide, protect, and provide shelter. A woman has to work. She has to work. If she doesn't, let's put it in modern day business. I think I was listening to SB the other day. If a woman doesn't have a job, she has to work in her husband's business. She has to be bringing something in. She has to provide in her husband's business. And every single dime that she earns goes into that family. Except if her husband gives her the blessing and said, you know what, use some for your family. Yeah, she can use the excess for her family, but the core responsibility that she has to undertake those first before anyone comes in. So that's why this video, that's why this program, although next time I'm going to be able to bring up clips and clips and clips, so that in order to give more organized panel on all these clips. And I'm going to also bring the modern Nigerian movies into it too. Modern African movies, modern African songs that actually cater to the whims and responsibility of our culture, not the ones that go contrary to it. Because our girls in this country, they are not bad, but they were just raised wrong. How do we unprogram them? By having this discussion. So I remember somebody one time told me one thing. This is what she told me. She said, I asked her this question. I said, I asked her, can you move to Dallas? And she's like, yeah, I can move to Dallas, but my job doesn't have she said that her job doesn't have the same position in Dallas, that it has to be out of Austin. Then I said, okay, but you can leave that job and apply for a different job in Dallas that has the same thing. She said, yes, she can do that. But then you know what she asked me? She asked me, what does it benefit her moving to Dallas? I said, oh, okay. One of the benefits you enjoy moving to Dallas is, number one, you're gonna be in my house. You're gonna be under my shelter. But you also have to bring something to my family. Then I asked her, then I said to her, thank you for asking me this question, but what do you bring to my family if I say, okay, she should move to Dallas? She said, nothing. You just gonna have to take care of me. I said, you are a woman, a grown woman. You're not coming to my place for me to be taking care for me to take care of you. My question is, what do you bring to my family? What is it that you're bringing to my family? Because that those days, all this, what are you bringing to the table, wasn't a discussion. I didn't even know what, we weren't having that discussion though back in the days, what do you bring to the table. I think it was just in the last 3 4 years during Kevin Samuels I was started hearing what do you bring to the table. It used to be, what do you bring to my family? What is your contribution to my family as a wife or as a woman that is prepared to be somebody in my family? What is it that you bring to my family? Do you know that she did not answer that? She said, "You know what? That is not what I'm here to discuss. In fact, as a matter of fact, I have electrical bill that is due, and so there. Are you going to pay that electrical bill for me?" I said to her, "You know what? You are something else.
Yep.
So you want us to start from the foot of me paying your electrical bill?" Then she responded and said, "I knew you were going to say that." I said, Then I said, I fired back and said, don't ever think that you and I can be more than friends. This remains in friendship and nothing more, because you're not responsible. You don't even know what it takes to be a wife, because you don't know the duty of a wife. And it comes down to the fact that a lot of people don't know what is the duty of a wife.
Mm-hmm. It's it's a byproduct of what they've seen and what they can dream up. So what is really going on now is women complain. They communicate through complaint. And what they did was
Mhm,
complain about, somebody gives them their ear to say, what are
mhm.
your complaints? They will add things that aren't necessarily happening to them. They started to see the byproduct of men's hard work, right? Even
Yeah.
men. This is partly because of men's weakness. Men shouldn't have never allowed the appearance that they are solely taking care of a woman and she has to do nothing. That's actually never what was actually happening. It's just the way
Mhm.
women told the story, and some weak men bragged about it that way.
Oh.
This stuff is in the Bible. It's in the Quran.
Mhm.
Do not brag about things, especially you lie and you bear false wit. You do all of these things it helps create a monster in society where people start thinking they can actually achieve these delusions, and it's all based on a lie. Okay, so my mom stopped working around 42 in the workforce. She didn't stop
Mhm.
working in the house. She
Yep.
didn't stop working in the house. This lady was now a full-time cook. What
Mhm.
what does his children need? I need the children to do that. I need the children. She was not sitting down twiddling her thumbs, right?
Nope.
So he would never tolerate that. If there's anything he needed done, I need you to go to the bank. I need you to get one. I need you now work for your husband. If you,
That's right.
exactly you are what the needs of the household.
Mhm.
Your free time is dedicated to that. So the worst thing any woman can do is think that society owes her. Now, I am a firm believer, and it doesn't even need to be my belief or my opinion. It is what's going to happen. The women who believe in this idea that men are supposed to take care of them, they will suffer the worst in the years to come. Because now you lead with that in a relationship. Men know naturally, even men that didn't grow up in marriage, know that's not their purpose to take care of someone. They have watched too many people build things together. They watch too many husband and wives collaborate with one another. They don't see where they're going to get the money from to take care of a woman, nor do they actually want to once they've seen the behaviors this woman develops when you do that for her. They're just going to go out, spend your money every day, and then when they decide, they'll leave and take your kids. No, men are not that stupid to let that happen to them this long. So now you see the decrease in the marriage rate. And the women that perpetuate that life, that narrative out too much, they are married the least. So the worst thing that's going to happen is everyone that thinks that a man is supposed to care for you, and you're simply supposed to do nothing, there will be nobody to care for you for the entirety of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't even get to collaborate with someone. You don't even get to know what it's like to build something. Your body is going to be used up, failed relationship after failed relationship, trying to
Mm-hmm.
find the impossible relationship or dynamic that you were looking for. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it's exactly what they deserve. It's what you deserve. There's no other way to say it. If you didn't hold true to the narrative that you are supposed to help, you're supposed to be a helpmeet. You are supposed to seek to help,
Mm-hmm.
not seek to be taken care of, not seek to have your bills paid. You are supposed to seek to be a helper first. You go into every relationship, man and woman are supposed to go into every relationship saying, how can I serve? Period. I went into I stopped doing what I was doing in the streets because my father said, okay, enough is enough. Now, how will you serve this family? Serve your legacy. Now, that is your only narrative for the rest of your days. And I listen, right? So that's not what the women today are leading with. And unfortunately, what's going to happen is they're going to now demand for society to take care of them in their old age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? And what I'm telling men now is understand that women are extremely apologetic for the mistakes that they make, but they have to go what do you call it? The wall. When they
Yes, they
hit
got to
the
hit the
wall,
wall.
when they get no more attention for their bad antics, when they realize
Yeah.
the men don't even the men are just like, hey, I'm done. Like when none of that works anymore, they're gonna apologize. Well, please, I mean, we can get together now, and I'm ready to listen. I want the men who they have disrespected, who they have turned their back on, who they have mistreated, to look at them in the face and say, "Hell no,
Oh
hell,
boy.
I will not save you. I will not take care of you. You disrespected me and mistreated me all of your life. And I cannot allow my money, my son's money, my tax dollars to pay for your irresponsible behavior and your misguided choices." That is the next generation that must say no. These men and women who have made these bad choices must, the way they lived in ineptitude, they must die in agony for those choices.
Mhm.
We have to be strong enough to make sure that the next generation doesn't end up like them.
If you look at this, right? You look at it. The baby boomers were too lenient to the women, even up to today, right?
Mhm.
The Gen X are the one that are pointing the finger. The millennials are the one that almost trying to behave like the baby boomers. They're kind of a little bit accepting.
Mhm.
But I got to tell you, the Gen Zs, oh, those ones don't give a damn, man. They want to punish. Like those ones really want to punish. They want to make everybody face the consequences because you know what? They were the one that took the brunt of the society. They were the one that were more punished by the society. In fact, they were the one that were more punished, that are still being more punished by the elements, because most of them, their mothers are touts, their mothers club, their mothers smoke weed. Well, their mothers are usually the Gen X generation. Because the millennia, their women were more feminine. So that's why they are more tender to women. The Gen X, their mothers, which is the millennia, were the same, is the same generation of so I'm sorry, their mothers are the baby boomers, right? They were kind of, acting like their dad, which are baby boomers, accepting the women.
Mhm.
But the Gen Z, their mothers are the Gen X and millennials. So they are not going to be very kind to these people. You feel me? So they're not going to be kind at all. That's why that's why I'm trying to tell the Gen X and the early millennials that Do you think that Social Security is going to be here when you start retiring? Oh, I don't think so. Do you think your son, whom you put out for another man, is going to let you to come and live with him? Oh, no, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So you are going to be really, really, really punished. And guess who is going to learn from that mistake? Is the Gen X women and the late Gen and the late millennials are going to see what is going to happen to Gen X's and early millennials, and they will not want that to happen to them. So they're going to want to have to raise their kids right
Mm-hmm.
and understand that that house that that man is paying child support for is for the child. It's not for the guy that will going to come in. Because I got to tell you this, Trigger Mike. In the early 2000s to probably 2015-16, right? A lot of kids were kicked out of the house for the guy that were coming in for the mother, right? A lot of
Yep.
young adults were kicked out. But if you look from 2016 to now, it's less women that are doing that now. That's my observation. Less women are doing that because they are seeing the consequences of what the late millennial men and early Gen Z men are doing to their parents.
Yep.
So they don't want that happen to them. There is something that I took from what you just said tonight. It's called duty. That word that you said, that you're supposed to do that duty to your family, that you come into that family to do duty, I've said, but you put it so good today. You put it so good tonight that these women have to understand that family is a duty. The men that come into this marriage or having all these kids supposed to understand that this is a duty. I, in particular, don't feel sorry for a man that is paying child support for more than 2 kids, for 2 or more kids, or 2 or more baby mamas. I do not have any kind of sympathy for mostly the men that pay child support for 2 or more baby mamas. I don't, because if you have one child from one woman with no kids, you should be responsible. You should be able to vent well before you get that woman pregnant at the first place. And then when you go and get and impregnate a woman with multiple kids, I do not feel sorry for you either.
Mm-hmm.
Because you should understand that that kind of woman is a woman you don't even show any kind of responsibility to. And much more to give her the greatest gift a man can give to a woman. That's his seed, his sperm, for her to give him in return a seed. That's the worst thing any man can do. It's a man's greatest virtue. The reason why, you see, when people say about my child, my child, my child, my son, my daughter, I really didn't take those things too serious until my wife got pregnant and went through that painful 9 months and gave birth to our daughter. And I got to tell you, fatherhood ain't a joke.
And it's not a joke.
It's not a joke at all. Fatherhood, parenthood is not a joke. For one child, it's not a joke. For many kids, it's not a joke. I got to say this to you, right? In fact, I don't see myself getting a woman pregnant out of my marriage and have her go through that 9 months without me being there. I don't think I can do that.
Oh no.
And now, yeah, I know we have about 3 minutes left. And also, oh, my bad. We've already gone past time. I was looking at the wrong time. Sorry about that. So, and also, we as a people, I as a person, right, cannot have anybody out of my side to raise any of my children. It's not gonna happen. I would rather practice polygamy, right, than have a woman raise my children in my absence or raise a child of mine in my absence, man, I got to go buy. I will buy 10 acres of land if you what it takes, or buy 5 acres of land in some farm out there in Texas, right? And I'm going to build 2 houses on it, 1/4 for the other woman and 1/4 for the other woman, and the middle section for me. You know what I mean? They must raise my children in my own house, in my compound. So when I come back at home, those kids can run, daddy, 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 to run towards me.
Mhm.
That's the way I see it. Thank you so much, coming Trigger. Yeah, I'm
Anytime.
gonna. But I gotta tell you, this is a good conversation. So, like I said, if both of us can collaborate and put this out every Sunday, and build from there, we can actually bring this culture of ours to America.
We can.
With how to implement it to family and also how to implement it to business. So thank
Sounds
you
good,
so
my
much.
brother.
Yeah, give your last thought and then you can just
I'm a little over. I have a Zoom
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead, bro. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so the thing is this, right? Trigger Mike just dropped some big lines, man. Trigger Mike. Oh, man, you guys should go subscribe to Trigger Mike Show. Whenever you get to read these, that's to watch this clip, go to Trigger Mike Show on YouTube and subscribe to it, because I got to tell you, he's my fellow Nigerian guy. He's good at what he does, man. Trigger Mike got it, and he got it really good. He dropped some lines there. So it is what it is. You cannot just bring a child into this world and think that you can just walk away and let the child just grow. It is a disservice to the child and a disservice to society. I don't think any man should live a life like this. I can't imagine me having a woman raise my child. For you to actually be a woman that will be impregnated by me, by virtue of marriage or none, you have to undergo serious psychological tests. You got to go through serious psychological tests in order to be able to do that. You can't just have my child. You have to undergo, because I will be there to make sure that my kids are raised up, or my child is raised up properly by the virtue of my culture. That's by the integral or study of my culture and my tradition. Because those kids have to know that their father is a man of culture and tradition, and they will grow up in that culture and tradition. Know how to respect tradition, how to respect culture, and how to respect the society at large. That is why I don't believe in my kids being raised by their mother only. No, it's not a good thing. No man should do that. Thank you, guys. So thank you so much for listening. I'm going to do this again. I think I'm going to skip this Sunday because this Sunday is Super Bowl. I don't think anybody's going to be there. But in case otherwise, I might have to do the podcast after Super Bowl. I'm going to have to look at the time of the Super Bowl and what time it ends. And then I will come online 1 hour after Super Bowl so we can do this again. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to doing this again. It was good. It was good. Panel is good. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Have a good night.